Hello, everybody. My name's Hexadecimal, and today we're going to be doing the contest results for my contest. Box and I were judging to see who would make it to Geek, and we are going to do the results today. I'm going to basically, I would basically say the results of what I said and like give kind of feedback a little bit on why I gave scores like I did. Then I'm gonna say what Box gave as soon as I actually grab Box's score real fast. Do boo ba da dee. Listen to the nice fancy music while that happens. Where is his results? Right here. Alright. And I got his document up. There's no particular order of who got what and why and all that. Where there's no particular order of me doing the things. Um, it's just gonna be whatever the program put them in an order, and I'll just go off of that. Box of stuff is here. All right, so we're just gonna go off of whatever the first one is, and then I'll just explain. I'm gonna turn the music off as much as it's kind of like weird having no sound besides me talking in the background. So, I first of all, I'd like to say like I think this contest turned out really well. Um, More people finished levels than I thought they were going to for my first contest, and I'm very happy with that. And honestly, all the levels I thought were really quite good in their own ways. They didn't all pass, obviously, but like I don't think anyone made like a truly bad level. I think like there was just some unrefinement in a lot of levels, and that was probably it. Like a lack of testing or a lack of knowledge, or a lack of experience for some people. Like it's just like it was very hard to judge some of these because some of them are very close to being like passing, but they didn't quite make it just because of some struggly parts. And I really hope that people make more levels for me in the future for my contests. I do plan on making more contests continuously like as we go, just because I'd like to keep the community going with more fun things to do, and I love playing them, and I don't want that to stop anytime soon, or ever. If I could avoid it. And I think everyone did like a really good job with the levels here. And like, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what like people's reactions. I want to see Geek play a lot of these, and I guess we'll just start with the first one here, which is Taco. So, um, I think that um like this level didn't pass. I don't think it passed for it didn't pass for me, and it didn't pass for Box. Um, and there's a couple of reasons. Um, I think that maybe the rule was a bit too harsh. I think the rule was kind of cool in some ways. Um, but also I think the level was maybe just a little too convoluted in some ways. That was probably the thing that held back it the most. If you see like where I gave that a 0. Um, but like, and I got a negative 2 because of that as well, just for things like soft locks and spaghetti and sections that were making the level like too long and too difficult than it like actually was. Chat enjoyed it. I think that like it had a good bit of stuff going for it, but it just didn't quite make it to like an average rating. The negative points really like reduced it out of the average running to get a 9. 9 is a pass to get the geek and it got a 7. Nobody really scored lower than 7 for me. Box gave this a 5. Um, Similar reasons. He gave it a 0 in one spot as well, and a negative 2, which reduced it. Like I think if it just had more polish, it might have been a better level. Unfortunately, it just didn't quite make it. So maybe next time, like I think you listen to some of the feedback I gave you while playing it. If you want more feedback from Box as well, like maybe ask him as well. He played your level and stuff. I think maybe your rule was maybe a little too too hard, and then there was just some unrefinement that really, like, held back. If you're gonna make a rule that's that difficult, you kinda have to have a level that's very cohesively, like, sound. It has to be, like, a level that's really polished. Like, if you're gonna make a level that has, like, a very difficult rule, it kinda has to be something that's, like, very polished and well made because, like, it makes the rule harder if there's things like soft locks you didn't intend to, and then you can't restart because then there's problems, and it just causes all sorts of issues, so it's really just one of those things where it's like you gotta be careful. Um, yeah, alright. So, that's Taco. The next person is Talarian. So Talarian, I really enjoyed this level. Um, I didn't give it as high a score as Box did. Box gave it a 19. I gave it a 16. I didn't find anything particularly wrong with it. I think you did a great job using the fourth wall rule. I think that overall it was a fantastically well put together level. It got high marks. It didn't get perfect scores from me. I got a lot of perfect scores from Box, and his chat even gave you a better score than I did, or than my chat did, which is why it's like a few points lower. Because his chat gave a 5, my chat gave a 4. So overall, Tolarian had a fantastic level. Like, very, very good, very solid. Overall, I think it was like really good. Yeah, not much else I could say other than like I don't think there was anything really too. I don't think there was very many negatives to say about it. Like I didn't really have any issues. It felt polished for the most part. There might have been some weird sections, but like overall, like I don't think there's any issues with the level. So congratulations, you're moving on to Geek. Um, Next we have Sepcon. So Sepcon, let's see, hold on. Notes. Notes. Ah, okay. So there was a couple of things that held this level back. I think overall the level was fun, but the issue with this level was that there was a lot of like really confusing sections. There was a lot of like confusing things with the rules that we had to fix while playing. There was also a lot of stuff that like made it feel like pick a path to me and Box because we found paths we weren't supposed to go down right away, or we kind of figured out directions way ahead of time, and it made the level confusing. And unfortunately, I think it just pulled the level down quite a bit. Um, the I I feel like the question mark block rule could have been better. So it's not like fantastic. Overall, I think the level, like, really needed more polishing and, like, less, like, convoluted directional, like, where you're going stuff, because I think the rule could have been a lot better if it had been utilized differently. The other level that you play, it's not bad. It was funny for the most part, but also, again, it came down to, like, the weird parts of the rules where it's like, "Do I have to play this level again?" And Box kinda just beat it and didn't go back. So he only really didn't he really see past CP2. So that's one of those confusing rule things that unfortunately kind of held the level back. If it had more time and more polish and like a more clear understanding of what the rules were supposed to be, I think it would have possibly passed, but I don't guarantee it. But it might have. Like I'd like to see you try more stuff in the future and see if you can improve like the stuff. Clarity is a very big important thing, especially when you're doing fourth wall. Clarity is important because like it's hard to know when you've done something wrong in fourth wall sometimes, and if it's not obvious, and sometimes it's just like it just makes everything more confusing. Anyway, if you want more feedback, then reach out to me, and yeah, but yeah, it was close, but not quite. All right. So, oh, and I gave that I gave it an 8. Box gave it a -2. Mostly, I think it's because he just kind of beat the level and didn't play it again and didn't go past like CPs, so he didn't see most of the level. So from what he actually got to see, it wasn't like it just didn't like stand out for him. So unfortunate. Um, Scriv is the next person. So for Scriv, notes, notes, notes. Notes. Find the notes. Ah, there we go. So I think this is one of the most creative uses of fourth wall I've seen. I like when people basically build an entire level around the rule and utilize it in this degree. This is like this made the entire level different. Like basically it was a very unique experience, not needing to hit the like the stick most of the time throughout the whole level and just jumping. It's one of the few levels I gave a 3 for their level utilization for the actual like the rules. Like I think it's one of the few levels that actually got like, you know, full marks for that. It scored pretty highly for me. I gave it a 14. Box gave it a 17.5 because his chat apparently was tied. Um, and overall, it did quite well. Uh, side note says Kaizo blocks the level. Yes, indeed. One of the more unique ways to have Kaizo blocks because of just like the nature of how the level worked, where you just didn't actually move your stick, so it was all just timing based. It was very unique. I approve of making levels very based, like very much based on the fourth roll. Like building around the fourth wall makes a very unique experience, and I think that's kind of the point of fourth wall stuff. Like building around the uniqueness of the fourth wall is like I think the cornerstone of what makes fourth wall rules interesting. Like stepping back away from just things being difficult and making them unique and fun, I think is like what people should be trying to focus on when they're making these. Like it's yeah, it's funny to make things more difficult with these rules, but it's actually better just to make them more interesting with these rules. So yeah, this one is a pass. It will be going to Geek. Congratulations. This level, this is Shoddy's level. Um, I feel bad that this level didn't quite make it, because I have played every single one of Shoddy's levels, every single one, and I can tell you by far, this is his best and most polished level he has ever made. This is a very good level for him. I think this is like the step in the right direction for his creativity and stuff. And I think it's the most polished thing he has made that I've played. Like I think it was a very I think honestly it was a very good level, and if it didn't get negatives, it would have been like it would have gotten pass. If it didn't have those like couple of sections that were just too difficult, that like it and like I would say like there were a couple sections where it's too difficult, and then after CP2 the level kind of fell apart. Like after CP2 the like lack of testing kind of really shone through at the end, because I feel like it's one of those things I have an issue with too, where the end of the like after CP2 it's the hardest part to get tested because people have had issues getting to CP2 while playing. And that's the same issue I've had with levels in the past. Like, and that's why I've slowly toned down how difficult my levels are. But this is a very big improvement for Shoddy, and I wish it had the refinement to make it, because I think this was a good level overall. So yeah, I really I hope Shoddy continues to improve like this, because he's definitely improved as a Mario Maker like creator, and I hope to see him make more stuff like in the future. So yeah, I really hope I hope I see more stuff for my contest for Shoddy in the future, as well as everybody else. But this is definitely a big improvement for him. I'm sorry it did not quite pass. I think Box didn't finish the level because of the same thing I was talking about. Yeah, it didn't quite pass for him either. Level's full of excellent trolls. He says in his notes. Um, yeah. So he actually gave it pretty decent marks, so it just didn't quite pass because of the negative. Actually, if it didn't get the negative, it would have passed from box as well, which is a high praise, honestly. If it didn't have the -3 because of just how like bad some of the sections ended up being, like just a couple of them, then and I think it stopped him from finishing. I think that like without those negatives, it would have been like an actually good, very good troll level. So, Shadi, I hope to see you improve. Even Box sees improvement, so you know, take that as a big sign, because you know Box is hard to impress. All right, next is Ryan D. So Ryan D, where are my notes? Ryan. Ah, here we go. So this is Guru's Guidance. This was a I think this was a pretty average troll level overall. I gave it mostly average scores. It scored a +2. Um Overall, I don't think there was anything like extremely special about this level. I don't think the fourth wall rule was like amazing or anything. I think it was very much like this is a good solid troll level. I had fun playing it. There's nothing negative I want to say about it. It's like I think that the fourth wall rule was kind of not necessarily utilized in any way that would make the level better, and that's the only thing I'm gonna say really. Like I don't think Guru's Guidance I don't think the comments added to the level. Like I think they were funny and they were there, but they didn't really give anything to the level, right? Like and I think I think that's this is the right level, right? Uh-oh, hold on. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So yeah, this is yeah. And Box also put this as okay. He said in his notes. His notes. Little clarity issue with the final coin. Yes, that was a problem with me as well. I think that's not enough to make it like a bad level. Fourth wall rule wasn't really impactful, and that's my take on it as well. I don't think the fourth wall rule was impactful enough. But it did get all average scores, and it did pass from me and Box, so it is going to go to Geek still. And I would like to see more levels by you in the future. Yeah, like I said, overall it was just a solid level. Like it's just not like it just didn't scream like anything unique because like I think the rule kind of like this kind of held it back a bit. But I look forward to seeing more stuff from you in the future. So yeah, going to Geek. Yeah. All right. Next is Invisible Drake. Yes. Invisible Drake. I was very impressed by this level actually. Um I wasn't sure that it was gonna be good by like the description of the rule. I thought the rule was kind of weird, and like I'm gonna say this right now. The beginning of the level is very freaking weird. Like the first like top layer section, I wasn't really sure about it, like the level at that point, and I was like, this is I don't know if this is gonna be a good level because that first section's very odd, and I didn't understand anything about it. However, after you get past that first section and the level like kind of opens up to like trolls and stuff, I think that it's very unique and it was quite fun. There were lots of parts where I just got totally tricked. Um, Very good. I think it was very fun overall, and going back to the same ante over and over again in different ways was fucking funny. I kind of always love repetition antes because like I don't know, it's something very Shields about them. Like Shields are kind of like always made me very like, oh my god, I'm here again. No! Like it felt very much like that, and I feel like it was very earned a lot of the time, which I think earning antes is always very good. Like if you can get somebody to go into antes and it feels deserved, then I think it's fine. Um so yeah, and Box gave you a 13.5. I gave you an 11. Again, I think that the level was good. There were some parts that kind of like built stuff were holding you back. Stuff being kind of like messy. Also, like gave you lower scores, but in general, I had fun with this level. I was very surprised. Like it turned into a very fun level. So congratulations, you are moving on to Geek. All right, next level is River. Let's see. Notes. Ah, here we go. So this level was, I think, well designed as a troll level. Well designed, like well built. Aesthetically, it was kind of it was pretty average in general. The only thing I think that held this level back was I think the fourth wall rule was bad. I gave it a 0. It's one of the few levels I gave a 0 to for fourth wall rule. I just don't think that I don't think there was that many Koopas for one for like seeing Koopas for it to be like super impactful that they were even there. Like the couple times that they were there, I forgot about the rule because the rule wasn't utilized in the level like that much at all. Like it wasn't a bad level. I think it was probably above average. I think that just for the contest, just for the sake of the contest, I gave it a 0 for the rule because I think the fourth wall rule wasn't utilized good enough. I think as a troll level, it's a very solid troll level. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a good troll level. I think that the fourth wall rule held it back. Like I think that like if it had a better utilized fourth wall rule, it would have gotten a higher score from me. Box gave it a 17. He also scored that part low as well, though. He also like it's the only thing that Box scored low for you. Everything else was a 2 or 3. His chat even gave you a 5. I also apparently dodged a bunch of stuff for your level and Talarian's. Apparently, I dodged a bunch of things, which made my score probably a little less. Me and Box kind of talked about that later. But what is a factor is that both of us scored your utilization of the fourth wall rule low for the same reasons. It just didn't feel impactful, and I didn't think it mattered at all in the level. Like, I don't think me saying Koopas and not saying Koopas really affected the level in any way. Um, Overall, solid level. I'd like to see a better utilization of fourth wall rules if I do a contest like that in the future and you join again, because I really enjoyed the level, but I think that the rule could have been better. All right. But moving on, you are past to Geek. Geek! All right. Next level. Begin. I'm gonna say that I really like this level. There's a couple of parts that really held it back, and that's unfortunate. um, so I think this is one of the weird cases where I gave this a 3 in utilization of rule because the rule is really cool. I think the rule is really cool. I think it added a lot to the level. I think it was cool that you built around it. There was a couple things that held the level back, just like spaghetti difficulty. There was a couple of sections after CP2 where it kind of felt like you ran out of ideas and you're just kind of throwing the player through sections for a bit, and it felt a little unrefined. And like overall, there were really funny trolls that you used with the rule. However, I think that like it just ran into these issues of it was too difficult in some sections, and like it was too it was just too unrefined, unfortunately, and it just pulled it down. And that's just the only reason it didn't pass. Box didn't get to play this because he had a hard time getting it from you, and that's unfortunate because I really wanted Box to try it because Box is better at the game than I am. I think maybe he might have scored it better and given you a pass, but unfortunately we ran out of time and he just could never get it from you. So unfortunately it did not pass to Geek. I'm sad about that because I think the rule is really cool, but I had to judge it fairly and I gave it a good score for what it scored good in, but it did get negatives where it mattered, and unfortunately that held it back. And I'm sorry to say that because I think that the uniqueness of the level was cool, but the difficulty like really just pulled it down, unfortunately. So yeah, sad to say that it did not pass to Geek. I hope to see you do levels again in the future, and maybe a bit more refinement will help it pass next time, maybe. But anyway, moving on to the next one. We have Salty Peregrine. Peregrine? I've been calling him Peregrine for like ever, and then like he corrected me one day, and I was like, Peregrine. I've been saying it wrong for like a year, and I still do because I'm dyslexic and dumb. Anyway, so I had a great time with this level. Let me look at my notes. Where are my notes? Where are my notes? Notes. Here it is. Okay, so post nut clarity. So I won't say there's no spaghetti in this level because there is a little bit, and it is weird, but it's got such good sections and recovery throughout everything that I gave it above average scores for everything. Nothing's perfect, no perfect scores. I think that like everything was just solid, like above average solid. It was a very good level overall. I can't really say anything too negative about it. Uh, I think it was great. Brutal in the best ways in some parts, and like just a overall enjoyable level. I can't really say anything bad about it. It just scored good for me. Let's see. It scored about the same for Box. Box did a 15. I gave it a 14. So basically the same. I think he gave you a 3 for utilization of the rule. I think the rule I think the rule's good, but there were some sections where it was, like, kinda janky, and I didn't like it in some sections. I think Box also had that issue when he played, but he still scored it higher, and that's fine. That's on him. But I think it was definitely a 2 for me for some parts were just a little, like, really trying to avoid the nut was hard. And that's about it, but, like, I think it was good in most senses of it. Alright, you are passed to Geek the Geek! Alright. The last one here is out of the 11 levels we did is Westcraft Guy. So, Westcraft Guy, I think this was let me look at my notes. Notes! Alright, Westcraft Guy. Alright. Notes. Alright, so I scored this level pretty well. I think it was way more fun than I expected it to be. The rule was terrifying when I first read it, and I wasn't sure what it was gonna be. But I was pleasantly surprised to find that it was just a really solid troll level in general. Like a lot of really cool mechanics I've never seen before and used well in like 3D World. Overall, it was just fantastic. I think it was a great level, above average for me. Just good, solid. Like I think it's gonna be a fun level in general. I think the rule was well utilized, maybe not perfectly, but it was definitely well utilized for what it was, as much as it was mostly abused for punishments, which is why it's not a 3. Um, I really only gave 3s to people who made the level, like, completely based around the rule. And the level is, but it's also not in the same way same respects, so it was just edging 3 in my opinion. It was very close. I almost gave it a 3. Box, on the other hand, gave this level all 3s and a 5 and a 2. It was almost a perfect score for Box. If it just gotten a if it didn't get a if he said if he didn't get soft locked that one time, and it broke the level, he basically would have given this a perfect score, which is extremely high praise for Box. Way better praise than I give things. So yeah, take that how you will. It's a very good score from him. So that's everybody. So I appreciate everybody who came and gave us levels. It was I think what 11 altogether, and I think 6 out of 11 passed. Let me double check that. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 passed, right? Yeah, 7 levels passed. So 7 levels out of 11 passed. 4 didn't pass, but they were very close in my opinion. I think that they were polished better. Those 4 could have also passed. I don't think anyone gave us anything hot garbage. I think it was all there was all intent in there. It wasn't just random shit. I think it's just it comes down to the experience and this understanding stuff, and I think some people will get there over time, and I think that it's just like I hope to see people try again in my future contests and stuff, and hopefully Geek will get to play these like levels soon. So I hope you guys all enjoyed the contest. I hope to see you all again soon for contests and levels that I get to play of yours in the future. And have a good one. Congratulations to everybody who's passed the Geek. And yeah, till next time. Bye bye.